What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Alex here from Team Generations, and today we're here with our very first market watch. So if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know that I have like tons of decks and stuff, so I'm always kind of watching, always have been, and I'm going to approach this series as kind of like a very consumer focused way, what value picks to be looking at and what you as like a general just player should be looking out for. I know some other channels kind of focus on a more like, I guess, seller aspect in a lot of different ways, so I'm mainly going to be concentrating on Overdress and V series, but here and there I'll sprinkle in premium when I think that it is relevant for, you know, whatever time, things like that. So, you know, if the new set's dropping, whatever the case is, I'll look back to. But we are on the verge. This is the night before, 2 nights before actually, time of recording, of the new V series. So special selection clan, Clan Collection Volume 4 and Volume 3. So very excited to get into this with you guys. I'm going to go over these sets plus a couple of the old cards that I think are really spiking or just absolutely crazy as well. Maybe I'll make it my own separate video about just that, just old cards that need to be reprinted. But let's hop right into this set. So right now we're pretty close to the MSRP over here. I know these guys are actually pretty expensive for retailers and just sellers in general. So to get it for 69 is actually a decent price over here. But over here at the high end, I think we're seeing a lot of what we expected in general. We're seeing the Ezel stuff become really expensive. Raging Form, you know, everyone kind of likes that reverse. Again, the SPs for these guys are really high as well. And just in general, if you're pulling the base rarity stuff for any of, you know, these Revengers, like, that's money right there. These are the chase cards, I guess, to get in this set. Obviously, Ezel as well. The support card's not as crazy expensive, but we do see over here that it has a market price of $385 and it's selling for like $5. Again, this is pre-sale prices, so everything is a little bit inflated. In reality, I could see this going down to like $3, $4, maybe even, you know, it's still at 7 and 6 listings. Yeah, maybe it'll go down a little bit, but in general, I never say go for this pre-sale prices. It never works out in the end. Definitely wait a little bit, either like a day of, day after. See what you can get from your locals too. Always support your LGS. But I think this set has a lot of great reprints. You know, Magatsu over here, Magatsu Gale. Sacramore was getting expensive too. This guy's actually decent for what was it, the Peony deck as well. But in general, I think we're seeing a lot of what we expected. A lot of good reprints, like I said, too. Abyssal Owl was definitely welcome. And in general, I think this is going to be a solid set. In the long run, will it have that much value? I don't think so. I think the Heal Guardians were super like money out of the last set. Like, they're not getting reprinted, I think, for a while. So what does this set have long term? Not 100% sure, aside from some of these chase cards. So let's look at the chase cards themselves. This is actually the Cecilia reverse, and she did sell. This listed medium price. I thought this did sell, actually. I thought I saw something before, but a bunch of these are listed for 150 around there, and I see it goes all the way up to 275, and I could see it staying at that 150. Honestly, maybe a little bit lower here, there, 1 or 2, but this is going to be a big chase card. I think a lot of people are going to go for. It's a good deck, and it's pretty unique with that like green border, so I think a lot of people will go for it. Definitely a collector's card, and again, a chase card in the set. Next up over here, obviously we have the VSR version of Raging Form as well, so this guy is super expensive. I mean, we see Pro Play and Collaborative over here. They both listed it for around that 230, and I think, you know, if that's the starting price that they're going for, this will probably settle around that 180-ish. If I had to guess, but at the same time, I'm not personally looking for these cards in this rarity. I'm kind of just a little bit more base rarity for standard, I mean for V Premium at least. Don't really care too much for that high rarity stuff, but I think this will hold. This will be, again, one of the chase cards for the set, probably the most expensive one also. This guy over here, I'm kind of surprised to see it. It's only 107. I think a lot of people would kind of go for this card. Maybe, you know, if you're a little bit early to the market, you could pick that up. But in general, I think this will actually go up. So this 107 is actually not a terrible idea. If you're really into golds, you want to play this Ezel, I think this is actually a decent deck. I don't think it's as good as some people kind of say it is, but at the same time, whoops, let's get rid of that over there. At the same time, I think that this is definitely a card that will hold value over time. So people love Ezel. It's just, it is what it is. This is definitely one of the money cards in the set, and we know that. Over here, looking at this set too for the pre-sale prices, I think our things are a lot calmer in this set than they are in the other. I think Silverthorn is getting a big buff, so I think we can see that over here. I'm surprised to see the Witch stuff kind of selling or just priced at that $3 range. Let's see if it's actually selling over here, because I don't think this is like great support. Yeah, wow, this actually, it did sell for $5, 3 of them for, yeah, that's crazy. Like, definitely wait, don't buy something like this in the pre-sale prices. Reverse, actually a really good card. The Dauntless Dragon, some of the SPs are actually really high in this right now, but in general, I think these prices are a little bit inflated. You definitely will see things go down to become like the sub $1 kind of card range, even if they are meta. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, these are basically reprint sets. They are guaranteed. If you buy 4 boxes of this thing, you're basically getting 4 copies of every single card. So, you know, take it as you will. It really comes down to how much do you think the market will purchase the set, how big are they on the set, and then kind of post it from there. So I'm going to be waiting. I'm not going to be going in immediately on everything I want in this set in general, but looking at some of the chase cards over here. So obviously this is like such an awesome card. This is definitely going to be the most expensive. The purple border I think is going to look really cool. I think I've seen like a Japanese version of it, not in person, but a picture of it looked really cool, and we see that it is selling. I mean, people are buying this. 125 I think honestly was a steal for this card. 180, I mean, it's high in my opinion. Would I pay that? No, but this doesn't have any current listings, so the floor is open. Like, people can set this at 230, 240, whatever they want. I'm not giving anybody any ideas, don't get me wrong, because again, approaching this from a consumer standpoint, but I can see this card being very expensive. And Silverthorns I always thought was a good deck. Maybe it's a little bit slower now than it was previously, just not as prevalent, but I could see it getting back to a pretty good point in the meta in general, so can see this card definitely being expensive. And then this actually really surprised me. So people are really big on Himiko Reverse. I have somebody on our team actually who's looking to pick Himiko back up. Shouts out to you, Skylar, if you're watching. But yeah, I was really surprised to actually see this at that 129 mark. And again, these are pre-sale prices, so we might see these go down. But right now, I think this is a little bit overinflated. I think this is a good deck, not a great deck. I don't think it's a meta-defining deck. I don't think a lot of things coming out of this set in general are, but maybe I will be wrong. We'll see. Just, again, another chase card. And then lastly, I think this is outside of, I guess it's waifu tax to set this VSR slot, but Jewel Knights are going to be good. I personally believe they're going to be good. We have, again, another person on our team. He plays Jewel Knights quite a bit. He plays Royals, I mean, to the T. He is very excited for this, so I think a lot of collectors will move in and actually purchase these. See, we have a lot of listings. If that stays, I can see the price dropping, but this is not only going to be a cool like waifu card, I guess, but this is going to be actually a decently competitive card. So I think in general you could see this kind of go up 170, 180. I think the 200 kind of is maybe more closer to the floor. I think we're seeing some better value up there at that 170, 180, but in general, again, not a lot of people go for that, but it's okay. And again, just kind of going over the past clan selections as well, because you do need a lot of cards out of these sets for the new sets, especially the Heal Guardians, and that's what I really want to talk about here. I think everything else is pretty stable overall. I think a lot of these things did drop, like this guy over here was never that expensive, but this guy over here, Super Dimensional, Robo, Daikaiser, that stayed. A lot of these VSRs kind of stayed up here too, so set was decently money. And then I think the real zinger here, like I said, was the Heal Guardians, like $5 a pop for a single Heal Guardian Sentinel from Bermuda Triangle over here. I don't know why I just blanked out there, but I think it's actually really decent overall. Like I said, there is just good value in those heal triggers, and in general, if you're seeing, like, if there's a clan that you know you like to play, right, and you see it, you know, the Heal Guardian for Murakumo, whatever, is like 68 cents. If you don't have a bunch of these already, like, pick them up, because they're not going to reprint them anytime soon. And you think, you know, what became your budget clan, or, you know, I'm going to build every deck in this clan, could just skyrocket out of control, and you don't want to always swap your cards. I mean, if you do want to do that, it's fine, but things like this, you know, Spike Bros over here, I bought a couple extra playsets, of this, extra playsets of that. I mean, things that are cheap, like, even if I don't play the clan, I still kind of picked up a couple just to have, just in case I do see things later on down the road. And we see the clans that are played in the meta right now, Nightmare Dolls in Premium, Royals in both Standard and in Premium. I guess they're going to be coming around to Bermuda. Like, all of the relevant clans, their heal triggers are expensive. So let's hop over to the Clan Collection 2. Kind of the same deal over here. I just wanted to point out too that these two cards, they did kind of tank. Like, nobody was really big on Nova Grapplers. I made a deck profile for those cards over there. I think it's actually a really good deck, very slept on. I definitely think it's like a solid tier 2 deck, and it just recurs tons of resources, things of that nature. So I think that maybe this is a little bit slept on. If you wanted to pick something up, let's see if there's like a ridiculous ship in KSC. Now KSC always charges the less. They're really good. They're really fast too, shipping to New York at least. But I think, yeah, I mean, the price kind of dropped off here big time, and they're selling for, yeah, that $40. I don't think people are too motivated to buy these, so a lot of sellers have listed it. Maybe it'll even go further down, you know, might be unfortunate, but I think that's the way things might play out with this. Same thing with that over there, if that's the same deal. But things in this set that definitely carried value, again, these heal triggers, any meta relevant clan. We're seeing, you know, Link Joker over here, obviously Premium, it's not as good as it was, but Link Joker is a fan favorite. Chaos Breaker support coming out, people want these heal triggers. On top of that too, Shadow Paladin, people want the Shadow Paladin heal triggers. It just is what it is. Golds, people are big on. Angels over here, and you know, it's kind of prohibitive in a way if these things really start to get to like unbelievable levels, because I'm going to talk about this too with some of the staples you need for Overdress. But if you're a new player, and, you know, you want to get into Vanguard, you want to start building new decks and things like that, I get it spending money on some of the cool cards like your main Vanguards, you know, some powerful rear guards, shiny stuff. But if you have to sit there and then by the time you're done ordering just triggers, your cart's at like $40, that really is going to deter a lot of people from playing extra decks, from buying more product in general. So I think a lot of things need to be trimmed down to retain value in the long run, but triggers are just not one of those things. I know every deck needs it, and because of that, they just naturally become a little bit more expensive. But overall, I think it's not good to prohibit new players from getting staples for decks like triggers, for example. Like, triggers are just not a quote-unquote sexy item to buy, if you know what I mean. So let me know what your thoughts are on that in general. Like, you know, you could cut down the ratios of some other things, kind of like they did in the last Vanguard Overdress set in DBT04. They cut down the triple rares, kept the value a little bit higher overall. So I kind of like that. As a consumer, no, but I guess if I'm selling, that's kind of what I would do. But yeah, that's really the deal with the set. Again, triggers are really carrying it. There's nothing really too much going on here. The top end is pretty heavy over here with Raging Form and whatnot, but that's really it. Moving right along then to Clan Collection. This was Clan Selection, actually, and this is where the real value set was over here. So if we look at some of the staples, Chaos Breaker obviously was always expensive. It's not out of its, you know, market price range or anything like that, but this is, let's see what a playset would kind of be. There's one for $9.77. Yeah, you can still pick up a playset for about 40 bucks. This isn't like a meta crazy card or anything like that, but again, this is another fan favorite clan. And this set, I don't know what it was, if they just didn't print a lot. This set just does not have a ton of listings in general. So with that being said, I think this is like the perfect combination to have just a really good value set overall in the long run. Staples like Steam Maiden Ribble over here. People want to play this new Steam Maiden deck. It's actually really good. People want to play, you know, Chrono Jet, things like that. And this is definitely a staple card in that. Let's see what we can get a playset for. 2 at $10. Yeah, you can get a playset for, yeah. Once these guys clear out, though, I mean, it starts getting really expensive for, again, not one of those sexy cards necessarily. Like, this is another annoying card. So maybe this will be on the chopping block for a reprint. Who knows? But things like Savage Shooter, Tachikaze is not a crazy competitive clan in a lot of people's eyes, but in my eyes it is. But in general, I think, you know, this is a super expensive card. It's not something you just want to pick up for $6, you know, drop $24, whatever it is, on a whole playset of that. Like, that's kind of crazy for a lot of people. And yeah, just there's random value throughout this set. Things like the main, things like the high class Moth, Lost Gear Dog, like Gear Chronicles just become really expensive in general, I think. And if you had a lot of this set, I mean, I think you're doing pretty well. Like, this was definitely a good set to go in on in general. A lot of cards did stick around. I think the power level of this set also was better than the next two clan collections overall. So I kind of like it. And going into the Clan Collection Volume, Clan Selection Volume 2, kind of the same deal. There's not as much value, I think, in like the mid-range, but this does have the Jewel Knights, does have Dauntless Drive, and I think at 19 listings over here, this might honestly fall. Let's see where this is at. So it's got one for $4. Yeah, I think the floor, the ceiling kind of like, yeah, it's right there. Like, this definitely is the market price. $4, this could be a lot worse for a card that every Kagro deck except for Overlord kind of needs. I think that could be a lot worse. So if you don't have your playset, maybe pick one up. But things like, you know, He Shot, $3.99, that's kind of a pain in the ass. Twin Order, pain in the ass. Dudley Emperor and some of the Dudley stuff too. It's really cheap right now, but I do see the inventory kind of going on that. So just a heads up, that was super value, but you know, it could creep up there. But in general, that's really the idea. Nothing else is really going crazy in this set over here. Going on to like the select cards I want to talk about now. You know, these are the past 3 sets or whatever. I just wanted to kind of go over those. These are cards that are very specific, that are just are crazy in price. So Ezel, obviously we're getting the new support with Scissors. If you want to pick up a base rarity set of Ezel, let's look at this. Like, I think you're in for $100. And I get that this set, what was this, the ultra rare, this was a great set. People loved this set when it came out. It's just retained its value over the long haul. Like, these did drop down to like $10 for a while, kind of around there. You could have got it pretty cheap. But right now, I mean, if you want to play set, yeah, you're in for $100, and that's just the bare minimum, really. I think to really play this clan, if you want to go the Ezel route. And then, oh man, Domains, $17. Like, this is crazy. Some of the high rarity stuff too. Like, this is really, you know, I picked one of these up, I think at one point for like $30-something on my locals. Now the floor really is $160. I saw somebody set that. I was like, there's no way it's going to stick. And then boom, it's now $160 over here. Yeah, that is the that is the floor. That really is what it has become. So absolutely crazy. And then if you want, yeah, Raven Hair Ezel too, Platina went up a lot. I mean, oof, it's insane. I know some people too have not an issue, but they like to say like, oh, why is the SVR the same price? Let's think about buying stuff out for a second. If I'm a consumer and I want to buy, or if I'm a seller, I want to buy something out. How do you raise the ceiling on something? How do you raise the ceiling on a product? You have to raise the floor. So what you do is you buy out the base rarity copy, and then people will be a little bit maybe slower to react, but this is a higher rarity. Let's see how many there are here. But people will react and eventually get that higher rarity stuff to be even higher in value. It's not always true with SVRs in general, but I think that's more or less the rule of thumb, and that's why, you know, people say, oh, you know, why wouldn't I just buy the SVR? Well, you should be buying the SVR if it is the same price, $1 off. Like, it's definitely worth it to buy a nicer copy in general. But again, once these things get cleared out, again, the floor is that much higher for the SVR copy. So that's kind of my logic with that. So just always be wary of it. And then, oof, this needed a reprint bad to get the oh god, what was the interaction with the lock things? Moving on to another card that I think is really expensive, and it just has stayed expensive for a while. Might need a reprint. I know, push your road if you want to do it next year, whatever. Is Vanquisher. So clicking into Vanquisher over here. Again, if you want to play set of this card, it's like $100. That's absolutely crazy. And this is a meta deck. This is something that is pretty good at the moment. Like, I still think it's tier 1, in my opinion. It might not be as good as it once was, but things like this, when you have support cards that are just $15, I think this is getting a reprint, right? No, this actually wasn't getting the reprint in this set. That was, what was it? Jaggy Shot Dragoon. So yeah, if you're in for another $60 here, $160, talking about 2 play sets of cards playing Vanquisher, it's absolutely nuts. Really crazy. That is a card that definitely needs a reprint, so you should be wary of that. Just get rid of those 2. And over here too, Maelstrom Reverse coming out. Let's look at the base rarity version, and boom, we have $49. 2 copies. If you want a playset, get ready. You're in over $200 for this card. That is crazy. I really was considering it like $25. Do I want to pick this up? It was a pretty good deck. I thought it was, and then I saw it top somewhere, and then everybody kind of went crazy. I was like, oh, okay, so I was right, but did not pull the trigger on it. This is insane. I think on our team we have 1 playset of it, so really crazy. Again, I don't know what else to say really here. The SVR is also pretty expensive for this, but again, I think this is where we want to focus on the floor, and then the ceiling will kind of move accordingly. And the card that in the same set over here, the Champions of the Asia Circuit, that did kind of fall down a little bit is Dayusha. So Dayusha was rocking around like $30 for like a while, but we do see over here there are plenty of copies at the $20 mark over here, and I think we are seeing this because Dayusha didn't get more support out of this set, and B, we saw that the clan just wasn't doing a whole ton in the meta, so a lot of people kind of saw Daikaiser and saw it at this just like, oh my god, this is an amazing deck, like, it's gonna be crazy, tier 1 kind of stuff. Didn't really pan out that way in a lot of ways. The deck is very fragile. It is a good deck, I will say it is a good deck, and it has its games where like there's nothing you can do to stop it. It just feels so overwhelming, but at the same time too, the fragility, I think, for me, that's the way I describe it, has kind of held it back in a bit. So meta contender players looking for base rarity stuff, they don't really care. This is just fallen as a result. Something too that I want to point out, the cheap copies of Revan are gone. A couple of them did sell out recently in February. And now Revan, to pick up a playset of this, you're looking around, $60, $50, whatever it is. It is very expensive. And more into this card that I wanted to go over. This is Battle Siren Narissa. This guy over here, or this girl, I should say, is so expensive. This is crazy. It's a double rare set out of Team's Dragon Vanity, aka Walking Dub. This set. That set is definitely money. This guy, there's only 6 listings on the market right now, and to be honest, this is a card used in Revan, it's used in Thavis, and I think Revan's a little better than people are giving it credit for. Not a lot of people at all are playing it right now, but it is decent. Aquaforce is actually a decent Excel deck in this meta right now, for V at least, and yeah, at $19, that's absolutely insane. You're going to pay $80 for a double rare. This is a card that needed to be reprinted and just was not, so kind of sucks. But moving into now, we're going to be talking about Overdress land. Am I on the right thing? Yeah, over here. Let's go over here, high-low. All right, is that, this can't be now, where is it? Because I'm on the second page. So talking about the new set for Overdress now, really decent set. I think the market has stabilized 100% on this set over here. We're seeing very slim amount of copies of this Pure Light. Just it is what it is. This is the chase card everybody wanted, but on the flip side too, Nirvana actually ended up being pretty cheap with 7 listings. I see this even going down. A lot of these SSRs aren't as hard to get as some people might have imagined, except for this Seraph Pure Light and the Magnolia Elder, because those are perceived to be the best meta decks at the moment, but there are easy counters, I think, to both of them. So more on that a little bit later. I might do like my my meta-analysis video. But these guys over here are a little bit disappointing. These definitely fell a lot. These were hanging around the 170, 180 mark for a bit, but right now they're very affordable with 11 listings on the market. I think that this might even come down. I have a copy of this one myself. I pulled it out of one of my cases. Very, very good card. But I think something else that really surprised us in general was the SP of Bafsagra. And I don't think anybody really saw this coming. Typically, a lot of other SPs aren't really that high up, but I think this is, again, a waifu card. On top of that, a lot of people were excited for this playstyle, kind of low and slow, give that big, like, Vanguard, almost like an Overlord deck kind of column. So I think the market kind of reacted accordingly. They were around like $40 for a while, but they definitely have spiked up to $80 here, so kind of surprising. Moving right along then in the set, there is actually a lot to talk about in this set over here. Let's talk about these guys over here, Pure Light. So Pure Light, absolutely crazy. For the base rarity, now the floor is at $23. So that is the bare minimum. If we want to place that, let's look at it. Yeah, we're in for $100. So not surprising. Again, waifu card, I guess it's the waifu tax is straight up real, and it is a competitive card. This is a very good deck. I think that this is probably a great deck against most matchups. Some matchups it really struggles with. If you know how to play against it, I think that you can get around it decently easy, but in general, this is just a super strong matchup, and decks that cannot stand up to it just can't. Like, it's almost like an auto win, so very autopilot the deck, and yeah, as a result, I think people see it in the meta and they want it, you know? It's a cool looking card too, I guess. And then moving on to, this actually really shocked me. This is Apex Surpassing Sword of Passion Prime. This guy sold out. This guy got bought out 100%. Like, you cannot get copies over here. So if you have some in your trade binder, I guess the new floor for right now is $42. I think that people, and last weekend, I think it was a WGP or something in Japan, and Bastion ended up doing really well. I've been saying this for a while. I have my video recorded. I have to actually post the deck profile for this, but this is definitely a tier 1 deck. People said that this deck kind of fell off a little bit. I 100% disagree. I think this is actually a really good deck, really solid. And I think that, you know, this being bought out, I think people kind of realize that. Also over here to the hollow version of this, let's just go through the set a little bit more over here. And let's look at the lower end, see where like the real value is. A lot of these hollows became expensive too. Some cheap SPs here and there over here. Also Nirvana kind of held good value, but yeah, I cannot believe that at all. Let's see on the low end. Over here, let's see where are we at. So yeah, on the low end over here, like, you get 2 of these per case, so it's not really that relevant, but at the same time, there's only 4 listings for $350. Let's see how much people are actually charging for this card, because this is definitely like a 3 of 4 of. Yeah, if you want to play set of this, you're in for quite a bit. The minimum is that $350. Only getting a 1 copy, boom, turns into like $7, $8 card from there. Kind of crazy overall. Also, another thing I did want to mention too, if you are looking to get your draw triggers over here, I think now is the time to get them. I think they've kind of bottomed out and they're only going to go up. Like the other day, this was like 80 cents or something like that. Yeah, 70 cents over here. So if you are looking to get draw triggers, I think the market is saturated at the moment for a lot of these. I mean, especially Dark States 30. You know, for future proofing a lot of your decks, I would just pick up a couple, you know, maybe some extras at your local, whatever the case is. So yeah. Over that, and I do want to point out some of these SPs. So we see in the mid-range for this set, a lot of these SPs are actually cheap, well under their market price, and we see their the price just kind of go down. They're only selling for $4, things of that nature. It's not bad if it only takes 1 or 2 cards to break a deck, right? And if you are somebody who just, like, you know, you love Hexorb, for example, you want to just play that, pick up the SPs while they're cheap. Like, yeah, grind out a set. It's not going to be the greatest thing in the world, but when, again, something comes out that inevitably makes the rig deck broken, like, boom, you're going to have that stuff. You're going to look shiny, and you got it for the low too. So I guess it's a long-term play in general, but definitely something to consider. Another thing too, I did want to point out with this set, this was actually really cool, these world orders over here, and the prices for these things were wild. At first, they were like $5 a copy. They went all the way, I think somebody bought them for like $20 a copy. It was crazy. And then they dropped down to like 50 cents. Let's look at the price history over here. It's actually like a roller coaster. So yeah, they're like $, $4, $5, boom, goes down, up, down, up, down. We see this kind of crazy thing. And I picked up a bunch of these for like 50 cents, $1, no big deal. I think they look really cool in general. They're not used in premium, so they're not going to be necessarily expensive for that format. Like, they're not going to be consumed for that format. Like, the only format this is really used for is Overdress. So do I see them being really expensive? Not really. Do I see them being around $3 to $5? Yeah, I definitely think this can go up and really be at that $5 mark in general once when some of these bottom guys are closed out. I guess I guess not when it's 36 copies of that over there, but yeah, just kind of a wild ride with that. But certain things in the set were really good. The ratios really helped keep the value up, I guess, for sellers. For consumers, not so good, but yeah. Moving right along, we just wanted to touch on the Intertwine, Advance the Intertwine booster box over here. The crit triggers in general are what I really want to mention. These things over here are just, let's go to relevance, because they'll probably be the highest relevance. Yeah, so Burning Flail Dragon, this is what I'm talking about. You have new players coming into your introductory format with Overdress. They sit down, they're like, okay, I want to build this deck. Boom, they're slapped in the face with buying a non-sexy card for $4. This is base rarity. This is, you know, that just shouldn't be. There shouldn't be $16 for some critical triggers. We're talking about, you know, like the era times where I was buying the, you know, some triggers. What was it? The draw PG for like Bermuda. It was absolutely insane. Pandemonium Tactics too on the rise. Only 4 listings over there. Things of that nature. Like a lot of things in this set are kind of turning out to be value. Something else I want to talk about too, whereas we talked about Burning Flare right there. Shadow Cloak is well outperforming its market price in general. I think it was priced at like, yeah, $14, but we're seeing it's actually selling at $25. Zorga, like, supporters are nuts. Like, they love this deck. I think it is actually a decent deck overall. I've played quite a bit against it in locals in general, and I think you can pilot this deck to decent levels. Again, it's not a meta like tier 1A kind of deck in general, but I think Zorga Nation is pretty loyal and they do like to high rarity their stuff. So this card is definitely on the up and up, and it is pretty expensive at the moment. And then lastly, out of this set, I think that this guy just needs to be mentioned. This is going to be Diablo Striker Brian in the hollow version. So a lot of people are playing this in the grade 4 Bruce, and we're seeing it bought out. So I think that honestly, if you wanted to play, I guess, this guy to give your Vanguard an extra critical, I was trying something with this guy. It didn't really work out as well as I wanted it to, but in general, I think some people are hopping onto that. This grade 4 Bruce build does kind of use it, so if you have these lying around, that definitely could be value. And then lastly, talking about the base set, again, it's like the core fundamentals I really want to mention here. SPs are stable. They've been stable. It's no big deal. This was a pretty money set overall, but I want to say 2 things about this. So let's look at how many listings are 16 and 21. Let's click into these guys over here. These now have to fuel Overdress as well as Premium, because as it stands in Premium, you can use over triggers. And now with the, oh god, what is it, Springfest coming up, a lot of, I think, regions or places in general did kind of change their schedule so that Premium is on a different day. I know New York metro region didn't, so we're all good there, but in general, I could see these things actually going up in price from here. $14, $12, whatever it is. Like, I think that's actually kind of crazy. Like, once these couple copies get bought out, you're paying $15 plus for a trigger. Again, one of those core stable things that I think prevent a lot of people from building more decks and therefore selling more products. So in a way, I think more over triggers in the market would actually do the game a lot better. And the same goes for some of these oh, let's actually go back over here. Where is it? I guess I don't have it. But the same goes for some of these like PGs. Like, you need core fundamental things in the game. PGs are one of them. And again, not a sexy card. It's prohibitive to new players if they have to pick up a whole nother set of these kind of things. But I'm saying right now, for you, the player, since we are confirmed in Clan whatever festival collection, not getting any reprints, we're not getting reprints of these things. I'm saying pick these up, actually. If you have decks that you want to play, I know there's 21 listings and stuff, but I don't think this floor is moving. I think a lot of people realize, hey, look, like, no reprint, boom, I'm going to start charging as much as I want for these. You need it for Overdress, you need it for Premium, so what are you going to do about it? I think a lot of people have cashed in on that idea. And in general, yeah, like, I think where are the PGs over here? They were just kind of like crazy prices. Let's go on page 3, maybe. I mean, these are the hollows, so I'm not even going to talk about them, but that in general is just very expensive. Where are my PGs? SP, can't really talk about that one. Do I have relevance? No. Let's go high to low. And let's sort for a grade 1, that would make sense. Let's go rares. Actually, yeah, over here. Let's go relevance now. So $6 for a base rarity Dragon Empire Sentinel. Like, that is crazy to me. That is absolutely insane. Like, again, prohibitive to new players. $3, I mean, I get it, I guess. $3, not too bad. $5, it's expensive. This is a top tier meta deck. I don't understand why Dragon Empire really, because I think Verena is actually really good, but I don't think it's a top tier meta deck necessarily. So just kind of crazy there. And I do want to point out, Barrow Magnus has been getting a ton of attention, and with that, the price of the SP has skyrocketed. You could have got these guys for like 20 bucks a while ago. Yeah, we saw them in market price $18. Yeah, they did sell out at that $20 kind of price range. People want to play this deck and they want to play it in high rarity. Forever, we kind of saw it, yeah, that $20 price range more or less, and now boom, it's popped up to $30. So again, competitive. People want to bling out the competitive deck. Boom, this is what we're left with. And lastly, I know I mentioned the over triggers, but I just have to mention this one specifically. Like, this is crazy. $23 for a Dragon Empire over trigger. Like, why? Like, how is that so much higher than every other clan? Like, you can't, or nation, I guess. I can't fathom this. I'm thinking in premium. Is there something going on that I'm not thinking of? But I don't think so, really. I don't know off the top of my head. I just really can't fathom it. I guess this is the Protag clan, and as such, things in general have just stayed a little bit more expensive. Like, we see Arena Arcs, even base rarity, you're in for another 10 bucks. Yeah, just in general, things are, I guess, Valiente, you don't really run 4-up necessarily. Yeah, things are just more expensive for this clan in general. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know anything down below that I might have missed that you think is pretty relevant right now, that has been popping off. I know this was actually really long. I didn't expect it to be that long in general, kind of droned on a little bit, but I like to give a little bit more detail rather than, hey, look, this card's expensive. Hey, look, this card's expensive. Hey, look, this card's expensive. So not a dig against any other YouTuber that does do this. I'm sure they have a much higher retention rate. But if you guys are playing this in the background, just listening at work or whatever, like I kind of do, I think I like a little bit longer form. So if you guys are here for it, so am I. So again, this is Alex from Team Generations. Thank you guys so much. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want. We do have a Twitter follow down below, and if you're interested in purchasing any of these cards, we do have a TCG Player affiliate link in the description. Definitely you can go shop through that. Absolutely no cost to you. Help support the channel. So thank you again. This is Alex from Team Generations signing out.